Sorry about that. Internet crashed. So my bad. I don't know how that happened. I was just talking. I had no idea. And then I noticed that the chat wasn't moving and it said reconnecting. But apparently we had an outage with my internet provider. And there you go. Yeah, really with the start music. I don't know how to do it a different way. You know what? This is my nightmare. In the middle, like you finally get in your groove a little bit. And then all of a sudden the internet crashed. You got to start over. I hate this. I did miss you. I miss you all terribly.
Robert, you need to knock it off. You were just crying nonstop. You were whining and whining, whining. You're upset that I wasn't nicer or whatever. Quit saying dumb shit and maybe people need to be nice to you.
I kind of like it. I think it's a little bit funny, honestly. Before we left, Dolphin said, have you heard of the Nick Shirley Act being brought forth in Congress? I'm a bit unsure by it. I believe it was brought by the Democrats. What, the Nick Shirley Act? What is it? There's no way. The Stop Nick Shirley Act is a nickname given by critics to California Assembly Bill 2624, introduced by Assemblymember Mia Bonta. Legislation aims to restrict sharing the personal information or images of immigrant service providers online, but opponents argue it would criminalize investigative journalism and prevent journalists like Nick Shirley from exposing fraud in government-funded programs. Yeah, I don't know what is it. I don't know what it does. I mean, I think that Nick Shirley certainly. I think he's opened himself up for lawsuits. You can't go like some of the claims that he's made. There's a lot of people in there. I think they could probably sue, but I don't. Just on its face, I don't like that. I think that's a bad bill. I like independent journalism. I don't think we should criminalize investigative journalism. I think the press should be free. So I haven't read it, but on its face, I don't think I would support it. But people do need it. If you're upset with a journalist posting misinformation or harassing you, you should sue them. I think there's a way to get around that. You go to New York City to film people praying. Was that? I don't think that was it. Was that him or was that? I don't know. I don't know. He's so goddamn dumb. Show cut off because my internet crashed. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what happened. I had to restart everything. But at some point, I realized that the chat wasn't moving anymore, and it was reconnecting, and so my internet was down. I got an email saying that my internet provider was doing an update, so that's probably what happened. Sure, I would support the bill. Oh, okay, gotcha. That's like the projection from all of you. You guys don't know what it's like to disagree with like a political party. I'm not a Democrat, so I know it's confusing to you, but that's just you projecting because you've never figured out how to disagree with the Republicans. You've just decided that this is a team game and everybody treats it the exact same way that you do. But yeah, no, I don't think I would support that bill. I'd have to read it. But just on its face, I don't like it. Tanya, thank you for that pizza money. I appreciate that. A good question, though. Dolphin, I appreciate that. All right, we're going to go back. I could be wrong. They were exposing Muslims imposing Sharia law in New York City. Or if you think, you're just a fucking idiot if you think that Muslims existing means that here comes Sharia law. You just don't know anything. It's never even been attempted. White House cut his internet due to cuts to fund the war. Yeah, fuckers. All right, let's get back to this. I don't know where it ended, so we're just going to start this over. This is Lloyd Doggett and Russ Vogt. And I probably won't cut in as much this time because eventually I'll figure out where we stopped.
Friend from Texas, Mr. Lloyd Doggett.
Thank you. Under your direction, Mr. Vogt, at the National Institutes of Health, last year, grants for Alzheimer's and aging research were cut almost 50%. Mental health, 47%. New grants for cancer research, 23%. And as I read the budget that you're here presenting today, the Trump regime's response is that medical research has not yet been cut sufficiently. Doesn't your budget propose another 12% cut at the National Institutes of Health?
Most of what you said is untrue. NIH was not cut at all last year. We proposed a series of reforms to lower the cost. We continue, although not as much, to lower the cost this year.
Reclaiming my time, my question to you is, don't you propose to cut the National Institutes of Health by another 12%?
I really have appreciated Democrats way too late figuring out the game and just constantly reclaiming their time when these people who work for us, who work for the government, show up and filibuster and never answer questions. I appreciate it. Took way too long for Democrats to figure out the game, but it's nice to see them finally just be like, we're not doing this bullshit.
Proposed to have a cut to the National Institute of Health.
Thank you, sir.
that
Reclaiming my
that
time.
goes after specific
far as
programs.
yes, sir.
and-
Thank you.
and
Reclaiming my
institutes like
time.
the
And
Minority
let's talk
Health
about your
Disparity Institute. like the
Reclaiming my
Fogarty
time,
Center.
Mr. Chairman. If the gentleman will please yield, he can filibuster when he's in the Senate.
Gentleman
What we
reclaims his
do
time.
know, as far as the truth, is that there were fewer grants for new cases last year at NIH than at any time in the last 30 years. Is it your feeling and proposed?
It's important to remember that fascists and authoritarians are always anti-science. They always have been. History is littered with anti-science authoritarian leaders. Every one of them is anti-science. Why? Because science can like destroy a narrative. They don't like that. Why is there an attack on NIH? Like, let's just be honest about this. Why are they cutting funding for the NIH? Because they all thought COVID was fake. And they all thought COVID was fake because Donald Trump said it was fake. They all said it was no big deal because Donald Trump said it was no big deal. And then it became a big deal, but they couldn't change their opinion. They weren't allowed to change their opinion. And then when it became a big deal and Donald Trump could no longer just pretend it didn't exist, they just started blaming Dr. Fauci. They're like, actually, this is Fauci's fault. Actually, this is due to gain-of-function research. Actually, this was a planned pandemic to get me out of office. And they evolved their thinking. But that's why they're cutting funding to NIH right now. Science fucks up control. They want control. And Russ Vought, before anything else, is a Christian nationalist. Before he's even a Trump supporter, he is a full-blown, unabashed Christian nationalist. He believes that Jesus is just totally in control. None of this other shit matters, and that the church should be in charge of everything. Authoritarians never like science.
Further cuts at NIH, that there are just not enough worthwhile projects out there, or that we cannot afford to invest more in doing something about Alzheimer's, cancer, Parkinson's, HIV, other dread concerns.
There are many worthy health investments out there. I think post-COVID, for an institution that contributed to the pandemic itself with the funding of gain-of-function research.
Boom. Boom. They have never tied NIH funding and gain-of-function research to the release of a virus from China. This is straight up conspiracy theory. So they're cutting it based on a hunch because they don't like science.
Give that institute $42 trillion, which is more than it got under the COVID pandemic. The kinds of is very generous. The kinds of things that we're trying to do with the National Institute of Health, indirect cost rates. We don't think when Bill Gates gives 10%
Yes, sir.
for parkings and administrative
Reclaiming
costs
my time, Mr.
and
Chairman.
buildings, that should go.
Reclaiming my
reclaims his
time
time.
after giving last year fewer grants than at any
That's a good point, Ruth. That's a question. Hitler hated science unless he could use it to slaughter millions of people. There's that clip in Oppenheimer where they're talking about their advantages. And the Germans had an advantage over the United States and Russia in terms of obtaining nuclear, or I guess an atomic weapon. And they did because of Heisenberg. But the problem that Germany had was they had the best scientists, but Hitler hated science. And it was like an anti-Semitic thing. And so the Americans were like, if we can get ahead of this, if we can get moving here, we can get ahead of Heisenberg, who everybody, like the whole world was like, he's brilliant, he's the smartest person. Like Heisenberg is way ahead of the game here. But if Hitler's anti-Semitism can keep Heisenberg down, then we might be able to catch them and get ahead of them. And boom, there we go. It's possible that it's likely that Germany would have had an atomic weapon before we did if it wasn't for fascism and anti-Semitism.
time in the last 30 years, you are proposing further cuts there. And of course, the cuts are not only to medical research.
No, Robert, that's not disrespectful. It's just stupid that you said that. Man-made climate change is a hoax. 100% of climate scientists agree that human life has an effect on the changing climate, and that directly we are responsible for the changes. But Robert says no. Because why, Robert? Because you were just told to. Because this is just a belief that you guys had. You've held the same belief for 30 years. When I was a Republican and I was in college, I had a professor who was I was his TA, but he was also a judge. and he made us read the book State of Fear. It's a Michael Crichton book for our final test. And I don't remember what it was. I don't remember which political science class it was. But it was all about, I mean, it was supposed to be about how people can use fear to sell something. But it was really about climate science. And that was a real college class that I took. We've been dealing with this my whole life. As long as I've been a Republican, you guys have been denying science. I was a science denier too. It's just easier, right? You don't have to learn anything new. You're just like, oh, if I don't really like science, I'm not learning new things. That's the biggest difference between conservatives and progressives. You guys think you have all the answers. You don't learn new things. You don't make progress. That's why we are progressives. You are conservatives. You conserve. You don't learn new things. You don't expend energy on learning new things or inventing new things. Conservatives are always the brakes. Always. Every great invention came with conservatives calling it a hoax. Oh, the Wright brothers, they'll never learn to fly. Transcontinental flight? What? Automobiles? Are you out of your fucking minds? Electricity? Nice try. It's always conservatives. There's like, can we just leave things exactly the same? We'll call it all new technology a hoax. And then eventually you adopt it. But it's always you that are pumping the brakes. And the reason that we struggle with innovation sometimes. When conservatives are in charge, innovation grinds to a halt. But rich people usually get richer because they're able to just consolidate all the wealth. So that's cool.
But is it correct that in your budget you would cut the National Science Foundation, which has in the past provided grants that helped on artificial intelligence, on laser eye surgery, on MRI technology, among others, that you propose to cut it by 55%?
We have a sizable cut to National
Yes,
Science
sir.
Foundation.
Over half of the funding.
But
of
it
the
will
National
not
Science
impact
Foundation.
our investments on artificial
Well, that's good to
intelligence,
know because
quantum physics.
you may be the only
Oh, good. The shit that we don't really care about, it won't affect that, but it'll affect science. It'll affect medicine. It'll affect climate science. Good. But at least these data centers are still going to go up.
person along with President Trump who believe that. A reading from the director of a consortium of research universities, he says your budget cuts are the equivalent of working in a company.
Sorry, stop one more time. Danny, I want to play a game with you here, Danny. When Danny Turner, we're gonna play a game, and you can use notes and chat. You're welcome to help Danny out with this. Danny, in the United States of America, when was the middle class at its largest? Do you know what years? Pull up the. We'll see if we can get a broad range. Come on, Danny. Stay with us here. I'll give you like a 30-year window. And this you can look at again, Danny, you can look this up. We're going to walk you through this. Can I explain the warming ages in the warming trend in the Middle Ages? No cars or factories then? Yeah. Yeah. The climate changes, bud. Climate has always changed. Our impact on the climate also changes. There's nobody who thinks that climate change is exclusively driven by humans. The climate also changes, but humans have an impact too. But where's Danny? And Robert, you can get on this too. Yeah, there you go. A lot of you were right. About 55 to 75. Are we with that, Danny? Do you agree with that, Danny, that the middle class was at its biggest between... Shut the fuck up. Personal responsibility has always stayed the same. Shut the fuck up, Danny. God damn, dude, stay on topic. He's already so afraid of getting an answer here. Do we see, this is what we're up against with conservatives. You ask them a question and they're like, oh, I'm afraid of this. Well, I'm going to already deny it. Danny, say the fucking years, Danny. Say the years. Or we got to mute you for a while. If I'm going to stop the whole show to help you learn something, we're not going to play this game. Danny, what years was the middle class the largest in the United States? All right, well, we're going to move on. Danny's going to, the years. All right, Danny, you're an idiot. All right, well, we'll do this together. Between the 40s and the 70s, like it was 45 to 75. Danny, what was the top marginal tax rate? Let's go right in the middle in 1960. Do you have any idea? You guys can help Danny. Look it up yourself. Everybody that's here, type in top marginal tax rate for the in 1960. So that's going to be the rich. How much were the rich taxed at the highest in 1960? 91%. This rate applied to taxable income over $200,000, which is like anybody making $1.5 to $2 million today. So Danny, when we were at our best, when the middle class could support itself, when we didn't have to worry about a lot of things that we worry about today, you could live off of one income. The top marginal tax rate was 91%. 91. So if tax the rich doesn't work, and you said tax the rich, that never works, how come it worked so well? Now what's the top marginal tax rate? Exactly, and the rich were still rich. Thank you. That's why. Tax the rich works. It's always worked.
It feels like it's on the verge of bankruptcy. Another one says, slow scientific progress threatening the nation's position in the world economy. And that's one of my concerns, because when you eliminate these research budgets, you impact long-term economic growth. Are you aware that one international organization has recently said already the United States has fallen behind China when it comes to research?
We have no doubt in our mind that we are going to still be the leading innovator, funder of research, both private and public. Our view is that we want to make sure that there's a dollar that's actually well spent on research.
Thank you very much.
Blown.
I'll accept that as you're disagreeing with the international organization that says we've already fallen behind China. Do you agree that the impact of federal research dollars helps to stimulate private investment? In fact, one estimate is every federal dollar generating 8 times as much in private investment on research.
Mr. Congressman, I don't think the Fogarty International Center, which is at the NIH, should spend $224,000 for a survey on how Buddhism creates HIV stigma in Thailand. That's what your hard-earned tax dollars is going to fund under the guise of research investment.
So why are you cutting research to cancer then? This is what I hate about Russ Vogt and all these MAGA people. They won't answer why they're cutting funding to certain programs. Instead, they just say things that they don't like, that they cut. In 2022, the top 1% of income earners paid in 40% of the taxes. Mr. Miller, I don't know why you guys, please, for the love of God, take off your MAGA fucking glasses for 1 second. Okay, just take off the fucking glasses for 1 second. What percentage of taxes do you pay? Based on your tax bracket, right? So if the top 1% of earners paid 40% of all the taxes, what does that mean? That means they held all the wealth. Your taxes are a percentage of how much money you have. So what you're talking about, while you're just, good Lord, deep-throating rich people for no fucking reason, you're making my point for me. They make so much fucking money that 1% of the people pay 40% of the taxes. It's based on percentage. You're making my point. That's not a good argument. If we all, there's 10 of us and we all are on land on or let's say there's 100 of us. We all land on an island. And all of us have to pay 10% of our coconuts. We all collect coconuts. However many coconuts we have to pay 10% of it. What if one person paid 40%? What if one person gave 40% of the coconuts? You would say, that's bizarre. Why does that one person own 40% of the coconuts? Is that a good thing? Is it good that that person owns 40% of the coconuts? And what's that person's effective tax rate? Did that person actually pay 40% of what they had, or just the total that we took in? What you should look at is, out of that 1%, what was their effective rate? Did they pay a higher rate than you? I bet they didn't. I bet most of them didn't. I bet they mostly paid a lower rate than you. Why are you bootlicking for them? They get more money and get to keep more of their money? The richer you get, the less percentage you have to pay in taxes? That doesn't make any sense. I just wish you guys would keep going with your thought process instead of like stopping. You stopped with that. Somebody one time told you that they paid 40% of the taxes. You're like, oh, okay, I'll stop thinking now. That's the end of my thought process. Take it a step further. Why did they pay 40%? Well, not because the rich are being taxed at a higher percentage, right? We lowered their taxes. Much lower. So how are they able to pay 40% of our taxes? It's like, have all the money. The reason money exists is so our economy works. You ever used to explain it like a wind you ever been in one of those like wind tunnels, like or seen those cash wind tunnel things where you sit in there and it blows the cash all around, you grab as much as you can, you try and stuff it in your pockets? What if it only blew up? How effective would that be? All the money would be down on the ground. They would turn it on, it would blow up. You'd catch what you could on the way up, and then that money never came down. It just sat up there. Well, how are you going to get more money? And this is again, just expand your thought process. Let's stay with me, Mr. Miller. Why do we keep having to inject money into our economy? Why do we have to circulate more money? Because the money's not circulating. It's all stuck at the top. So when we run into a financial crisis, then we inject money and you go, government spending. True. What's the solution to that? Force that money to circulate so you don't have to inject more money because all the money goes to the top. Every time we have an event, like a catastrophic event, think of the 2008 financial collapse. Think of COVID. Think of what we're about to have with the AI bubble. What's going to happen, and what happened in those previous two instances, is a massive wealth transfer. The richest got even more rich, and the rest of us got fucked because our economy is not trickle down. It is trickle up. It goes, and it's not even at this point trickle up. It's a fire hose going up. I just want you guys to think critically for a second. Look at the problems that we have and ask yourself, honestly, why is that a problem? How do we fix that problem? If you want to stop printing money, then the money that is in existence needs to circulate. If it doesn't circulate, people don't have any fucking money. If people hoard money, like we're talking hard money, then it doesn't circulate. And then we create these fiat currencies, and then we're just like, oh, well, banks, we'll just say that bank actually can loan 20x what they have, or 10x what they have. And we just create new money. It's not, we don't even print it. We just create new money in circulation. Where does that go? Straight to the top. Every fucking time. Shut the fuck up, Marianne. Stop tone policing and stop being a dumb fucking lunatic. Can you stop being jealous? I'm explaining math and economics. Can you imagine being in an economics class with this dumb motherfucker? The professor's like, actually, let me explain how currency works. What a country creates a currency, and that way you don't have to trade your pickles for their apples. What if you don't have any pickles? What if you can just use money instead? That's why currency exists. And that currency needs to circulate. Otherwise, we have to print more currency. And Marianne goes, stop being jealous of the people with the currency. And the teacher goes, how the fuck did you get into college? How are you here right now? There's no fucking shot that you passed high school. This is basic fucking shit, Marianne. Don't get mad because you have some billionaire's dick in your mouth. Don't get mad about that. Stop bootlicking for billionaires and learn something. This is not complicated shit. And 99% of conservatives don't get it. This is why we say you're in a cult. This is why we say you have Trump derangement syndrome. Because this is basic. Think, Marianne, you and I let's go back to that island. There's 100 of us, okay? And we expand. And 20 years from now, there's 10,000 of us, Marianne. We were doing a lot of fucking, so much fucking. And now there's 10,000 of us. And not everybody's a farmer. Not everybody is creating a product. Some people are laborers. They don't have a product. In our economy, because we don't all share in the fruits of our labor, we don't own our own labor. How would you pay somebody, Marianne? You've got a coconut farm. You can't pick all the coconuts yourself. There's suddenly a big demand for coconuts. You need to hire somebody. But if you can't hire somebody if you're not giving them coconuts, you're selling the coconuts. So how are you going to hire somebody to work on your farm if you don't have money? So then you and I, Marianne, we sit down together. We're like, we should create a currency, and we'll call it the Marianne's currency. And what that currency is going to do is it's going to circulate through the economy so that with these people that go work on the coconut farm, then they go to the grocery store and they want to buy some pears and they want to buy some bananas and they might want to buy some chicken. They don't have coconuts to trade for it, but they have currency. So they go to the store and they give them currency. And then those people at the store are able to use that currency to buy things that they need. Now, imagine if we ran out of currency. The stores kept all the currency. The people who owned the businesses kept all the money, and then suddenly there was no more money to pay anybody because the business owners aren't paying people enough, and the people that are working don't have enough money to pay for what they need. Now, you and I, Marianne, we would say, hey, this is dumb. Like, if we print more of this money, the value of each dollar in circulation is going to be worth less now. So instead of printing more money and making our dollar or our currency less valuable, what if we instituted a tax? So these business owners, they have to pay taxes. And they have to help take care of these workers that they're not paying enough to. And the only way for them to avoid paying these taxes is to pay their workers more. And then you put that in the hands of the business owner and you say, look, you can make all this money and that's fine. But at a certain point, we're going to take 90% of it because the people that are working for you can't eat. They can't afford their house. So we're going to either take that money for you or you can pay them more. And the business owner might be like, well, if I'm going to lose the money either way, I might as well seem like the good person and I'll pay these people more. And then you pay those people more and that money goes into circulation. You don't have to devalue your currency. I don't know why Republican legislators, Republican universities, Republican think tanks, I don't know why they've not taught you any of this. It is literally the most basic understanding of currency valuation and inflation that there could possibly be. And somehow, millions of you have been convinced that we should not circulate the money, but that also printing more money is the problem. Yes, printing money is the problem, but why did we have that problem? Because the money doesn't circulate. When did the money stop circulating? Should we talk about? Let's go back to these years. I want to show you wealth inequality by year. Now, wealth inequality, why that matters is because as wealth inequality goes up, the cost of everything else goes up. The poor get more poor, the middle class get more poor, and the wealthy get substantially more wealthy. A really interesting chart to show you here. Oh, equitable growth. I don't know if I can expand this at all. If you can't see this here, this is the share of wealth by Americans. The top 1% is represented in this blue line. The next 9% is represented in this orange line. And the rest of us, basically everybody here, is the purple line. Now, you see how in about 89-ish, the bottom 90%, they owned roughly 33% of the wealth. The top 1% owned 30% of the wealth. And the top 10% owned like 37% of the wealth. Not super well distributed, but better. What did we start to see the effects of here? 1982, trickle-down economics. And then we just kept doing trickle-down economics. And we taxed the rich less, and we kept tax rates at the same for the bottom 90%. Look at the percentage of wealth. This is just through 2016. This is good. This is success. This is greatness. that 1% of the people now own more wealth than the bottom 90%. And they have since, 93? And now look at the gap between 90% of the people and 1% of the people. This is good. If you spent less time being obsessed with your opinions and terrified of the word socialism, you would see that you are getting fucked in the ass by the 1%. And they are paying the politicians that you vote for to help them fuck you in the ass. And you are like, yes, this is what I needed. This is what I wanted. I voted for this. I voted to be fucked in the ass and make sure that the 1% get every dollar. I don't want money. In fact, the fact that I don't have money is my fault. It's my fault. I'm not driven by money enough. I didn't pull myself up by my bootstraps enough. Again, this is why conservatives don't like education. It's why they don't like science. It's why they attack universities. You know who's paying them. It's these billionaires. What do they want? All the money. What do they want you to do? Be laborers. And you're just out here cheerleading. We want to be laborers. We want to be laborers. We could go back to when things were good. We go back to the time when if you had just basically any full-time job, you could afford a family. You'd have vacation. You had a retirement. We could go back to that, but it would require taxing the rich. And you guys have been indoctrinated into believing that taxing the rich somehow doesn't work, when history says the exact opposite. Math says the exact opposite. The only argument that you have is your feelings. Do a little research, though. Let's get back to Russ Vogt, who's bought and paid for by billionaires telling you that poor people are the problem.
I think the Fogarty International Center, which is at the NIH, should spend $224,000 for a survey on how Buddhism creates HIV stigma in Thailand. That's what your hard-earned tax dollars is going to fund under the guise of research investment. I don't think $20,000 should go to a value ship.
That's fine, Mr. Vogt. Thank you.
Danny, all that and you didn't learn why start a business if the government is going to take my money. This is why it don't work. It don't work because your brain don't work, you dumb fuck. What, did we not have businesses before 1982? There were no businesses in the United States before 1982. Nobody ever started businesses. Everybody was just walking around confused with nothing to do. God damn, Danny. God damn, man. You waited all that time to say the dumbest fucking thing you possibly could? The whole time you listened to that whole shit? And then you're like, the government's going to take my money. First of all, it's the government's money. And second of all, that 90% rate, which you'll never get because, bro, you're dumb. You're not going to make it. Sorry. Like, you're not going to be that guy. They take it at a certain level. It's a progressive tax rate. So it's like once you were making $2 million a year, you would get taxed at 90%. What are you telling me, Danny, you can't live on 2% or 2 million? What's stopping you now from being rich, Danny? Why aren't you running a business now? Stop bootlicking for billionaires.
It's fine that you go through and eliminate any project like that, but that doesn't justify providing the fewest number of grants for these key dread.
Who gets to decide? Robert, we live in a fucking representative democracy. Who gets to decide? Our representatives. Who decides who the representatives are? You. Do you not know how any of the government works? Are you do none of you know how any of this works? If you don't like how the government is spending money, the solution is not to stop giving them money. It's stop electing dumb fucks who are corrupt. Maybe don't put a billionaire criminal in the White House. That's a good idea. There's a good start. Maybe when Rick Scott commits Medicare fraud, you don't vote for him. Start with that. Start with holding yourselves accountable with your own votes. I don't want to hold myself accountable. What if we just complained about the money and didn't blame anybody else? What if we did absolutely fuck all to change anything, but we just sat here and complained like bitches? That's what you all look like. You're just like, well, I wouldn't, this system would work. I understand what you're saying, RTP. I get that the math works out, but I'm still not okay with it because our representatives, they're not going to go along with it. Then fucking change them, dude. Get rid of Citizens United. Remove money from politics. Don't sit here and ride Trump's dick while he makes $4 billion selling you out. Don't be like, I love the one big beautiful bill. This is great. The billionaires aren't going to have to pay anything now. Figure it the fuck out. You have some responsibility too. And Republicans, I got to tell you, your responsibility right now is to learn basic economics. And then once you learn basic economics, vote like it. Stop worrying about trans people when you vote. Stop getting distracted about, immigrants are taking your job. The whites are going to be replaced. They're transing my kids. They do that so that you don't know that they are just completely and totally fucking you. And you have the audacity to blame them when none of you understand any of this. Vote for better people. Criticize people in your party. How many days do you have to be here, Robert, and see me criticize Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi and Hakeem Jeffries to realize that, like, that's exactly what I'm doing? Be more like us. Talk about the corrupt people in your party and then get rid of them. When you open your mouth, do it not just to let Trump's dick in, criticize him. Point out that he's committing fraud over and over and over again. Criticize him for handing money out to billionaires while we start another war in the Middle East and blame poor people and immigrants. We can't change till you get courage, and you don't have any. And maybe with a little bit of wisdom and a little bit of knowledge, you could have a little bit of courage. But you're so distracted by culture wars that you just like watch them rob you blind, and then you're like, everybody does it. What are we going to do? I guess we'll just stop paying our taxes. Cool. Yeah, what's that going to solve? Even what you're saying there, like, what happens if you stop paying your taxes? We can't pay any of our bills and we go bankrupt? Fucking great idea. That's a really good idea. Let's just go bankrupt. That'll fix it. Heaven forbid you force the people that you vote for to end Citizens United. Stop taking money. Stop taking PAC money. Don't vote for anybody who does. Pretty easy solution. Can't get you guys on board, though.
Diseases in 30 years. I want to ask you about the comment that was referred to by President Trump about the fact that we can't afford daycare at the federal level. And of course, your budget provides no increase in funding for child care, does it?
We flat fund child care, which you would not get
And you
from the
also
question that you
eliminate
asked.
the program, do you not, that provides assistance for some people with heating and air.
1.5 trillion they're asking for to blow up people in the Middle East. We can't fund child care. Cool. Amber says Millionaire earns approximately $8.79 to $28.54 per hour if they work 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Average billionaire is approximately $83,333 per hour for the most elite billionaires. It escalates to between 1.14 million and 44.6 million per hour. Awesome. Yeah, for sure. Elon Musk is worth that. Between 1.14 and $44.6 million per hour. For sure, he's worth that. That's a great point. Well done, Amber. You're so smart. I love when you're here. I just reminded guys, we are crowdfunded. And I forgot that was a long rant, and we're a little ways away from the gift goal. I'll stay a little bit later today because we started late, and then we had the cutoff in the middle. But anything you do to help us knock out that gift goal will be greatly appreciated.
Conditioning, the LIHEAP program, you terminate that entirely.
It is a historically fraudulent program.
Do you terminate it entirely or not?
We do not have funding for LIHEAP because
Yes,
we
sir.
believe in the moment where we are fighting fraud.
Of all the many things the president says he wants to cut, you have not gotten to Medicare in this budget yet.
We
I guess
don't
that
think
will be the
LIHEAP-
next one.
we don't think
That's
LIHEAP
coming up
funds-
next is Medicare because, as the president said, that's a state function. Well, many of us believe it's a vital program to protect the health of our people. We don't want to see what happened to it. What happened to Medicaid already and to the Affordable Care Act happens to Medicare, and that's very much what's at stake here. I yield back.
And I
What do you mean? What are you talking about? We can't give out enough free childcare? Yeah, but we can give out enough free murders. Use the same logic, Mike. If it's free, right? Like if childcare is free because the government funds it, then murdering people in the Middle East is also free. No matter how you try and spin that, we're choosing to murder people rather than take care of children. You can spin it however the fuck you want. It would be one thing if they were like, we don't have money for childcare, we're really cutting back on expenses. But they're not doing that. They're increasing the expenses. They're like, Trump literally said, I have to cut back on childcare so that I can murder people in the Middle East. Those are his words. how are you this, like, how do you become this person that's like, yeah, that makes sense, actually, though. We do need to murder more people. Shane said, Robert and Danny are the entirety of the problem. Yeah, I agree with that. That mindset. L-heat payments go directly to whatever company provides the service for heating. Thank you. I was unaware of exactly how L-heat worked. Thank you, Mystic. And just a number. L-heat pays the energy provider directly. Fraud is basically impossible. Yeah, oh, that is a good point. Yeah, actually. And then he said it's like rife with fraud. Yeah, what is the fraud there? Although, also, like, if you don't want to do free childcare, maybe we should go back to the time when the government didn't have to pay for childcare. Maybe we should go back to the time when we taxed the rich at 90%. And you could have one parent staying at home. You didn't need two incomes. Maybe we should go back to that. Worried about people's retirement? Worried about people working forever? Maybe we should go back to when we taxed the rich and people were able to retire at a sensible age. No, we can't do that because they got to keep all that money. They got to keep it because socialism is a big scarce. Were we socialist in the 50s, between the 1940s and the 1970s? Were we a socialist country then? When we had like a massive manufacturing boom? When technology was like driving our economy? When the United States became like a world power? Were we socialists back then? I'd like to, Danny, were we socialists in the between the 40s and the 70s? Either you have common sense or you don't. No, Danny, that's a dumb fucking thing. Common sense is math. Like, basic math is common sense. You have very uncommon sense. Common sense is what dumb fuckers say when math doesn't go the right. Well, I don't really do math. I just do common sense. It's not common sense. You just have dumb people around you, so it feels common. You've surrounded yourself with fucking idiots. Well, they say it and I say it, so it's common sense. Yeah, you're all fucking dumb. Your whole voting base is fucking dumb. Look at red states. They're dumb. How's the education in those states? Dumb. How's your president? IQ of about 70. He's brilliant. Yeah, for sure. For sure he's brilliant. He's fucking dumb. You've been convinced that common sense and not thinking and not doing math and not learning about science or economics, it's a waste of time because I got good common sense. Just my good genes, I guess. Amy Lynn said childcare isn't free anyway. If the person is needing childcare, they work and pay taxes. See, there we go. Just keep the insults coming. Keep them coming. I'm sorry. Yeah, it kind of hit close to home, huh? It's a tough one. All right.
Is that, Mr. Chairman?
I think that was the end there. All right, moving on. Let's talk about JD Vance. JD Vance went and spoke to Turning Point USA, and it was a massive event. They had literally tens of people there. He was packed into like an 8,000 seat arena, and they couldn't even fill up the floor. There were not a lot of people excited to see JD Vance because JD Vance isn't exciting. And please, for the love of God, make this guy your nominee. No answer. What'd you say, Josiah? Which side already hates next president? 160 million people already hate the next president. Huh? Approach. Go somewhere else. Go to a dumber place. This is how do you even answer that question? That's crazy.
Example, I
not 10, tens, more than 10, tens of people.
recognize that a lot of young voters don't love the policy that we have in the Middle East.
Yeah, nobody likes your policy in the Middle East. I love this by JD Vance. This is how they're going to spin their deeply unpopular war in the Middle East that nobody can explain.
Okay, I understand that. I also know that we've secured the border. We've lowered housing prices now for 8 months in a row, and there's going to be more to come beyond that. We've made America energy dominant, which has lowered electricity costs and things like that.
I'm sorry. Did you say lowered electricity costs and things like that? With a straight face, he just said that.
Which has lowered electricity costs and things like that.
Raise your hand if your electricity costs are down. And if you say that your electricity costs are down, I need you to tell me your city and state so we can look this up. Boy, that echoes mighty loud. Yeah, it's almost like there's it's bouncing off these walls, almost like there's not a lot of bodies there to deafen it. Yeah, some housing costs are down, but it's because people stopped buying houses because nobody has any money. So it brought down housing. Like, housing is supply and demand, right? So if you're bringing housing prices down and you're not doing it by controlled pricing, which they're obviously not doing, then we're just talking about supply and demand. Less people are buying houses, so housing cost, like purchasing a house, kind of leveled off. In some places, it's come down. Yeah, nobody's electricity prices and things like that are coming down. This guy Fox said, bro, KKK Caroline said that Jesus Trump image was doctored. He definitely thought that meant he should say it was depicting a doctor. He's literally the dumbest human ever. He's so dumb. Amy Lynn said, companies' tax breaks should be dependent on pay and benefits of jobs they provide. Better pay and better benefits, better tax breaks. Yeah, incentivize, make everybody's incentive the same. Incentivize corporations to treat their employees better if they want tax breaks.
We've made it so that we have the lowest murder rate in 127 years. I'm not saying you have to agree with me on every issue.
What'd they do for the murder rate? Because it was at the lowest rate when they took over. They just kind of kept that trajectory. It's been going down basically for 30 straight years. This is like just bragging about making it through your day. We made it through our day, and look, now the sun has set. Look what we did. The sunset. Yeah, housing costs went down because nobody is buying houses anymore. Energy prices went up. That was a fucking lie. The border's not closed. They haven't really changed much at the border. What are these accomplishments? You think this is a winning strategy? Oh, you should stop caring about this war in Iran that we can't explain and think more about these lies.
I'm not saying you have to agree with me on every issue. What I'm saying is don't get disengaged because you disagree with the administration on one topic. Get more involved. Make your voice heard even more. That's how we ultimately take the country back. It's not by you. You know, if you get 5 things you want and 1 thing you don't want, I see way too many people, especially in sort of the online conservative, Twitter sphere, who say,
what you doing online so much there, JD?
There's no point. No. Because, or let me give you another example.
Oh, sorry. Andrea said, missed you last week on payday. I hope the tourney went well. F Donald Trump and all his supporters. Thanks for all your hard work. I missed a bunch of these. Sorry. I think I got them. Maybe it was just that one.
Well, the SAVE Act, okay? A lot of people want the SAVE Act. I want the SAVE Act. I've been fighting for the SAVE Act literally since day one of the administration. And I've seen a lot of people saying, what the hell's the point of voting for these guys if, you've got 3 Republicans joining with the Democrats to prevent the SAVE Act from passing, or I guess 4 Republicans. And here's my response to that. Yes, it is annoying to me that there are only 45 or 46 Republicans who will fight politically to get the SAVE Act passed. But you know what? 10 years ago, that number was 35. So the answer to frustration...
SAVE Act didn't exist 35 years ago. The fuck is he talking about? Anybody? Is your guy? You're going to put this guy up again? We could run a fucking turtle. What is he talking about?
Is engagement. Don't give up on this process. Get more involved in this process and demand more from people like me. That's how we take our country back. I just think it's important to say that.
Ryan Lex, I don't know if you're complaining or not. Just stop saying weird shit, man. You're getting auto-modded. 1, I'm not married. 2, if I was, don't talk about people's wives. Stop being weird, man. Don't talk about people's wives, their kids, their family. You can dislike me all you want. That's fine. But don't talk about people's families. That's weird. Don't do that. I'm not married. I got in trouble for fucking your dad too much. All right. Now watch it. This was good. Now this student clearly thought this out.
We'll do one more. Sorry.
I guess it's easy to get a question in at Turning Point USA because there's nobody there. But I want you to see the worst defense of this administration's handling of the Epstein files you've ever seen.
We'll do one more. Sorry, real quick. I love this, but I got to go.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vice President, and coming to UGA and allowing us to express our freedom of speech. So thank you so much. The The first lady said Epstein was not acting alone and had to be held accountable. She said and called for a congressional hearing, but President Trump multiple times called the files a hoax. The acting attorney general said Epstein shouldn't be a part of anything at the DOJ. If there are compromised government officials in those files, how can the public trust that this administration will hold anyone accountable when its own Justice Department
Is that clavicular? No, I think he OD'd yesterday.
actively blocking the investigation? Given that, can you clearly articulate your stance on whether federal entities should have a formal investigation? Thank you.
Yeah. So
We know it's not clavicular because he can read.
So first of all, you said the Associate Attorney General or something. I haven't seen that quote, but here's my view on the Epstein matter. Number one, the guy was clearly a scumbag. Okay.
Thank God. Went out on a limb there. Clearly a scumbag.
Number two, he clearly had.
Jesus, he was fent maxing Greg. No. Don't. We're not gonna. Don't do that.
Had extraordinary connections both with intelligence services, both inside the United States and outside the United States, and also with a lot of very wealthy and powerful people, okay? Number three, I have been a firm advocate and will continue to be a firm advocate of where we have something, and you know, like, I'm probably more obsessed with this than most officials, okay? Probably more obsessed with this than most people even in this room, is when you see somebody who says something in an email that suggests, you know, there's one email I read, and it's been a little while ago, but it was talking about, you know, one person sent an email to Jeffrey Epstein saying, oh, there were some really nice, like, pizzas and grape sodas or something like that. And I remember it sounded like the Pizzagate conspiracy theory, but here it was in, like, an email from a guy. And my reaction to that was, we should absolutely investigate that person. Okay.
What about the email that said Trump raped children? What about the email from Epstein saying that, like, Trump was the linchpin? What about the email from Epstein talking about Trump staying at his house with an underage girl? This was the one you thought we need to investigate. This one, not the accusations of actual sexual assault. This one, I'm fine investigating this one. This is the worst defense of the handling of the Epstein files as I've ever seen. Like, there are thousands of really crazy accusations in the Epstein files. And JD Vance is like, I care about this. I want Pizzagate investigated. Show us, go look them up. I'm not reading them for you. If you're unaware that Donald Trump is accused of rape in the Epstein files, Google it. Just Google it. Texas Jane. Google. Right now. We'll wait. Google. Do you guys really not know this? Do you honestly not know that Trump is accused? Because here's what's going to happen. I'm going to show you the email and you go, that doesn't prove anything. Right. It's an accusation. Just like this. He's talking about an accusation, right? He wants the accusation investigated, but not an accusation against Trump. We don't want that investigated. Yeah, typical woke search engines. Go to Epstein. In fact, you could just, I'll show you how to do it. You don't even have to Google. You can just do this. You can go to Epstein. Oh, no, it's, was it DOJ? Is it DOJ.gov? DOJ.gov /Epstein, I think is what it is. What is the website? Oh, justice.gov. Sorry. There we go. Just type in Trump's name here. You guys know about this? You can just go through all of these. These are all the emails that mention Trump. You can go through it. Does anybody know which one it is? Like the EFT, they make it purposely not searchable very well. Could you do if we do 13? It's just okay, that's a news article. Let me know which one it is in the chat by chance. This is from Epstein to Jonathan Farkas. Why don't you suggest to him that the real money-making book is Getting to the Truth of the Claims? University of Virginia, no penalty for false accusations. Hockey team, no penalty for accusations. Trump, 13-year-old grape accusation, no penalty. Mine is ripe with the same. It's just Epstein casually bringing that up. Any emails between Donald and Jeff? Well, no. But weirdly enough, Trump and Epstein stopped being friends around like 2006. We're missing a ton of documents. There's basically an entire missing trove of documents for like a 4-year block. But again, like now you're changing it. Just going back to JD Vance. What he wants investigated is Pizzagate. And you guys all want that too. You just don't want anything investigated that has anything to do with Trump. Clintons, yeah, the Clintons are in there. There's accusations against Bill Clinton. There's literally no accusations against Hillary Clinton in the Epstein files. None. There's accusations against Clinton, and those should be investigated. Why aren't they investigating those? How come the Trump administration, Pam Bondi, how come they're not investigating those? They're literally not investigating anything. See, there's Texas Jane saying exactly what I said. Exactly. Zero evidence. See? I told you, no matter what we say here, you're just going to say, it doesn't have to count. And even if it went to court and Trump was found liable, you'd be like, it was just a woke court. But again, the claim I said was, what I said was there's claims of Trump raping people in the Epstein files. And there are. But JD Vance doesn't want those investigated, and either do you.
And my reaction to that was, we should absolutely investigate.
Texas Jane, you have to apologize. You have to apologize, or you're getting the fuck out of here. Nobody said he was guilty, you dumb motherfucker. I literally predicted what you would do. I said that there's accusations. He doesn't want to investigate them. And then I said I would show you the accusations, and you would say that doesn't mean that he's guilty. You're just doing what I predicted. So you have to say, you're right, you predicted my behavior, or you get a 5-minute mute. This is stupid. We can predict what you're going to do every fucking day. You guys are so goddamn pathetic.
Investigate that person, okay? And, you remind me, I'm going to follow up on that to see whether we've investigated that person, because we should. We absolutely should. When you see evidence of sexual assault, sexual misconduct, regardless of whether you're powerful or not, in fact, you should probably investigate it more if you're a powerful
Will said prayer mogging and thoughts maxing for clavicular
person, right? I don't want powerful people, being involved in this disgusting behavior. But I have to defend the president on this.
So who are they? Republicans? Who are the powerful people that the Department of Justice has investigated? Name one person that Trump's Department of Justice has investigated. Ready, go. Name one. Or do you guys all think that these powerful people didn't do anything? Jen, will you find the testimony of the person accusing Trump? Is this the one? Okay. No, not under investigation. You're saying still under investigation. The DOJ says they're investigating nobody. You can't say still under investigation. You're making shit up. They said they're not doing any investigations. None. All right, so here we go. This is from... Okay, it's blacked out. So this is... Did you say this was a special agent for child exploitation and human trafficking task force? Oh, yeah, this is FBI. This is the FBI talking about this. Here's the complaint here. Blank reported an unidentified female friend who was forced to perform oral sex on President Trump approximately 35 years ago in New Jersey. The friend told Lexis that she was approximately 13 to 14 years old when this occurred, and the friend allegedly bit President Trump while performing the act. The friend was allegedly hit in the face after she laughed about biting President Trump. The friend said she was also abused by Epstein. Spoke with the caller, who identified blank as friend. Lead was sent to Washington office to conduct an interview. Are they investigating this? Yeah, DOJ says no credible information, but they haven't done any investigations. But JD Vance, again, going back to what we're talking about here, that's fine. But JD Vance is saying somebody saying weird shit about pizza needs to be investigated, but not these actual accusations. These don't need to be investigated. At age 16, while modeling, caller attended 8 parties at Epstein's New York residence. On one occasion, caller reported she was sexually assaulted by Epstein. On another occasion, 2 twin brothers, Alan and Orrin, lured caller and friends upstairs, but they escaped back downstairs. These two have actually just been put in prison. These 2 brothers. Does anyone remember their last name? I think they're in Miami. They literally just lost their case. And it wasn't about this, but it was other sexual assault. Caller stated Orrin raped her best friend, a 3rd brother. Tal raped a 14-year-old named Blake. Caller named other individuals involved in a big orgy parties with her, other young girls and older Victoria's Secret models, including Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. Is their last name Tate? It's not, is it? Online complaint reported that she was a victim and witness to a sex trafficking ring at the Trump golf course in Rancho Palos Verdes, California, between 95 and 96. Now, this one is tricky because the Trump golf course in Rancho Palos Verdes was named something else during that time. Trump didn't own it. He did frequent that. So you could say that they're lying here because Trump didn't own that golf course. Or they could just know it as what it's called now. But just to be fair for that reporting, complainant report, I think he bought it in like 98. Complainant reported Ghislaine Maxwell as the madam and broker for sex parties, clients of whom include Epstein, Robin Leach, Donald Trump. Any investigations into any of those people? Yeah, exactly. Lies. All lies. Everything about Trump is lie. If this didn't say Trump, if this just said Clinton, you'd be like, see? So again, I'm not saying that Trump's guilty. I'm asking you why we don't investigate it and why you have decided it's a lie. And again, going back to JD Vance, what does he want investigated?
Or something like that. And I remember it sounded like the Pizzagate conspiracy theory, but here it was in like an email from a guy. And my reaction to that was, we should absolutely investigate that person. Okay. And, you remind me, I'm going to follow up on that to see whether we've investigated that person, because we should. We absolutely should. When you see evidence.
Got it. An email that mentions pizza should lead to an investigation, but accusations of rape should not.
Evidence of sexual assault, sexual misconduct, regardless of whether you're powerful or not. In fact, you should probably investigate it more if you're a powerful person, right?
Oh, wait, hold on. If somebody makes an allegation of sexual abuse or conduct, you should investigate it more if they're powerful. Does he know about this? Somebody should send him this. Or this one. Complainant reported his ex-girlfriends blank were victims of Epstein and one was unalived. While working as a limousine driver, complainant recalled picking up Donald Trump in 95 to take him to Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. During that ride, complainant recalled some of the things Trump spoke about on his cell phone were very concerning and described being a few seconds from pulling the limousine over on the median and within a few seconds of pulling him out of the car and hurting him due to some of the things Trump was saying. Complainant noted Trump repeatedly stated the name Jeffrey while on the phone. One of the complainant's ex-girlfriends told complainant Trump raped her, as did Epstein. Caller is talking about crimes committed against her. She claims to be a prisoner. She references Lisa Marie Presley, the British royal family. Oh, well, there were people in the British royal family. That turned out to be true. President Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. So some of these people were correct. Should we investigate? No, not Trump. Complainant following up after a call with NYPD officer regarding her previous tip reporting that she was forced to perform sex acts when she was 13. This is the same one. What does this say? No contact made? Oh, we didn't even try? Didn't even try and contact this person? Caller was taken by boat to Epstein's Island. Caller said it was complicated, involved Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Caller became a school counselor and had a meeting with the school principal, Linda Kitts, and a police officer where the caller was informed there were pictures of herself with Epstein. Caller reported the school was mad at her for not being a Trump person and that the school wanted her to testify and say things about Andrew Cuomo. The FBI and Donald Trump were on the phone during the meeting. Caller believes the FBI has baby pictures of her with Epstein. No contact made. Previous tips indicated Blank had called in and she said she had chemically induced amnesia and struggled with knowing what was a dream and reality, which is a very common thing that they would do to these girls, where they would give them drugs and they didn't know if what happened to them actually happened to them or not. You ever heard of Bill Cosby? Didn't exactly what Bill Cosby did. No, for sure. Nobody would drug anybody. These must be non-credible accusations. Caller reported in 97, a friend, victim 1, was out drinking, ended up at Trump Plaza. Victim 1 saw Donald Trump and wanted to meet him. An unknown man approached her and offered to introduce her to Trump. The unknown man gave victim 1 a drink, and victim 1 woke up naked and sore with $300 on the bed. Victim 1 didn't remember how she got to the room. She remembered seeing a flash of Trump's face. Victim 1 called the caller and told her she thought she had been raped. Victim 1 did not go to a hospital and have a rape kit performed because she didn't think anyone would believe her, especially because she was drunk. Victim 1's husband had problems with suppliers, and Victim 1 believed Trump was behind it. Victim 1 also started dating a lawyer. Identifiers unknown who was married. Victim 1 had a fight with her lawyer boyfriend and went to a bar. Victim 1 left, but left a bar with a man that no one in the bar recognized, but who seemed to be familiar with Victim 1. Victim 1 was never seen again. A few years ago, remains were discovered and matched the description of Victim 1, and wearing when she went missing. DNA tests at the time were inconclusive. Oh, okay. So she just died. Like, she made these accusations, and then she just wound up being murdered? For sure. Let's not investigate that either. No contact made there. The phone number provided was bad. Could not identify a valid number. Again, JD Vance wants us to investigate Pizzagate, though.
I don't want powerful people, being involved in this disgusting behavior. But I have to defend the president on this because when he said that it was a hoax, what he was talking about was this democratic idea.
Once again, now we have to interpret Trump. When he said it was a hoax, let me interpret this in the best possible way that Trump can't articulate.
He's connected to Epstein. If you look at those emails, it's like, they were in the same, everybody in Palm Beach knew everybody, okay? Like, the president has said he knew Jeffrey Epstein and he was a scumbag. But
I've said I've known Jeffrey Epstein for 15 years. Terrific guy. He's a great friend of mine. He loves beautiful women on the younger side. That's what he actually said. Now he says this, but at the time when everybody knew him, and he's seen in pictures with Epstein, not just in Palm Beach, but in New York and in Chicago and in New Jersey. Jeffrey Epstein regularly stayed as a guest, as Trump's guest at his casino. But yeah, no, just everybody happened to know everybody in Palm Beach for sure.
What you see in those emails is that Jeffrey Epstein hated Donald Trump, and Donald Trump hated Jeffrey Epstein. In fact,
I don't know where they're getting that. Honestly, I don't know where they're getting that. We've read a lot. Can somebody point me to an email that says they hated each other?
One of the emails is about Donald Trump narking on Jeffrey Epstein to the local sheriff, saying, "This guy's a scumbag. You should go and pick him up."
Why the fuck you lying? That's just a fucking lie. That didn't happen. This isn't a real thing. The email was after the police, and it's not an email, by the way. It's a phone call that we don't even know if it happened. It's somebody saying that Trump called him after they arrested Epstein and said, "Good job. Everybody knew he was a creep," which means Trump knew Epstein was a creep the whole time and didn't rat him out. But what did JD Vance spin it into? This makes me think JD Vance hasn't read any of this shit.
Donald Trump hated Jeffrey Epstein. In fact, one of the emails is about Donald Trump narking on Jeffrey Epstein to the local sheriff, saying, "This guy's a scumbag. You should go and pick him up." So
it never happened. The problem is, too, that JD Vance has in this room is these are younger voters, and they care about the Epstein files, and they're pissed about this, too. Everybody in the room knows that he's lying right now. This didn't happen. Everybody knows it.
When Donald Trump says, when the president said...
Peter, let's look it up. Peter said he did. Okay. 2006, Trump called, I think it was Palm Beach police, right? All right, Peter, we got you here. Oh, shit. I want to be behind a paywall. Want a video. New York Times is probably going to be behind a paywall, too. Let's see. After it became clear that Epstein was under investigation in 2000, one of the first calls the Palm Beach police received was from Donald Trump. The local police chief at the time told the FBI more than a decade later. So 10 years later, Michael Ryder, the chief, said, Trump called him and said, "Thank goodness you're stopping him. Everyone has known he's been doing this." Want to apologize? Trump said it was known in the New York circles that Epstein was discussing and suggested that police also focus their investigation on Ghislaine Maxwell. She's evil, Trump said. Trump also told the police chief that he was around Epstein once when teenagers were present, and then he got the hell out of there. No, he didn't. So then he did? No, he didn't. No, they had already got him. Writer told the Miami Herald, which reported the document earlier, that the call of Mr. Trump is in 2006. You guys, why are you saying 2008? Peter, God, you suck at this. Peter, apologize. What does it say right here where it's highlighted, Peter? What does that say, Peter? It says 2006, right, Peter? No, I said this is exactly what he did. I said he called them after. Again, God, this is the problem we have. You guys are all fucking stupid. I swear to God, this is why we can't have nice things in this country. You guys have the memory of a goldfish.
Donald Trump narking on Jeffrey Epstein. In fact, one of the emails is about Donald Trump narking on Jeffrey Epstein to the local sheriff saying, this guy's a scumbag. You should go and pick him up. So,
okay. 1, not narking. 2, not an email. 3, they had already picked him up. You can't knock on somebody. You can't narc on somebody after. And what evidence did he give him? He just said, oh, we all knew. It's crazy how dumb it is, like how dumb you guys are, honestly. You can't remember 30 seconds ago? I just read he did? No, my friend. Let's try this again. After it became known that Epstein was under investigation in the 2000s, one of the first calls, so after it was publicly known that he was under investigation, that they had started the investigation, Trump said, he didn't narc on him. He said, thank goodness you're stopping him. Everyone has known he's been doing this. What's the narking here? There goes TikTok. Oh, good. Of course. What's he telling here? Tell me what evidence he's giving here. All right. Okay, let's get back to JD Vance.
when Donald Trump says, when the president says this is a hoax, he's not saying it's a hoax.
Why does TikTok go down so often? Oh, I don't know. Could be because Larry Ellison, who gives Trump money, the Zionist piece of shit Larry Ellison, doesn't want anybody talking about this stuff. Could be.
That Epstein was the scumbag. He's not saying that it's a hoax that Epstein was connected to powerful people. He's saying this democratic idea that somehow he was Epstein's best friend, that is a hoax. And if you look
well, why did they both say it then? They both said that they were good friends.
at the emails, it's obvious
TikTok goes down as much as MAGA dads. Facts.
that Jeffrey Epstein hated Donald J. Trump. And by the way, one of the best signs for whether you're a good person or not, for whether you're a decent human being, is if the worst people in the world hate your guts. The fact that Jeffrey Epstein hates
Jeffrey Epstein didn't hate, but you know who everybody hated in the Epstein files? You know who everybody universally hated in the Epstein files? Obama. Let's run this one back.
For whether you're a good person or not, for whether you're a decent human being, is if the worst people in the world hate your guts. The fact that Jeffrey Epstein hates Donald J. Trump is a pretty good thing for Donald J. Trump.
Find the email that says Epstein hates Donald J. Trump. But Obama, the only time he's mentioned in there is they're like, fuck that guy. We fucking hate Obama. Just like Steve Bannon, Jeffrey Epstein, all just talking shit about Obama. And Hillary Clinton, they talk a lot of shit about Hillary Clinton too. They're not actually talking shit about Donald Trump. They're just saying like, yeah, dude, he was involved too.
Yeah, well, and I will say, by the way, just so you know, the DOJ, just before we got on stage, I guess I saw the news, has unredacted fully the 6 million documents, made it available to your congressmen and women. So put pressure on them to go give you.
No, they didn't. No, they did that. They just said that they've already done it. None of that happened either. So cool. Good to see the Turning Point USA cult still going strong. We got about an hour. Let's call it an hour left, and then we'll get out of here. Just a reminder, guys, we are crowdfunded, so anything you do to help us knock out that gift goal by the end of the live would be greatly appreciated. You can do super chats, PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, all that stuff. And then a reminder, on Monday we are going to have our next members only event in the Discord. We're going to be watching a movie or a documentary or something like that. We haven't picked it yet. Make sure you're a paid member either on TikTok, YouTube, or Twitch, and join the Discord, and we'll get you access to that. So, Jen, are we? I'm on a strike on TikTok. Are we perma-banned on TikTok?
I think we're permanently banned. I couldn't log back in.
Oh shit! It won't even let you in.
No, I was just, his account is currently suspended. So.
Yep, account was permanently banned. That's so fucking crazy. Did you talk to our boy?
I was just trying to log in, so.
That's crazy.
Not yet.
I do have a backup account. It's RTP Media, or no, it's RTP. Yeah, RTP Media News. Make sure you go follow that. We'll probably have to be on that account tonight when we go live with Ash. Been waiting for this one. It's happened before. We'll see if we get it back. Okay. Let's move on to this insane interview from Trump. Trump met with Maria Bartiromo, and sometimes this just feels fruitless because anybody who can read and isn't in the MAGA cult knows that this dude has lost his mind, and then the Trumpers are just like, find ways to defend this. This is one of the most insane interviews I've ever seen. He's clearly falling apart. He doesn't know how anything works. Maria Bartiromo talking to him about Jerome Powell. Trump's newest thing is they want to like go after Jerome Powell for overspending, like on the Federal Reserve buildings. Trump makes some wild claims here, but mostly this is just dumb.
Way. Isn't it the easiest way to get him out of the way to end the probe?
Does that mean we stop a probe of a building that I would have done for $25 million that's going to cost maybe $4 billion?
First of all, it's multiple buildings. Second of all, not $4 billion. And thirdly, does anybody think that Donald Trump could build 4 massive buildings for $25 million in Washington, D.C.? I mean, this is insanity. None of this is possible. And what Trump's mad about is the Supreme Court, which is conservative, ruled that this probe has to end. It's the role of Congress. Like Trump's DOJ can't go in and probe this.
Cost maybe $4 billion. Don't you think we have to find out what happened there? You know,
we do. Congress has oversight. They literally have to document to Congress where they spent the money. We have oversight on this. The reason the Supreme Court threw this out is they're like, we don't need an investigation. Like we know the numbers. Now, if you want to say that they overspent, you want to fire people for overspending, that's fine. But we have like line items. They have to report this back to Congress. They have been reporting this back to Congress. One of the buildings was finished like 3 years ago.
we have other jobs like that, like the railroad in California, where it's 25 times more than it was originally going to cost. And I think they're going to end up abandoning it. Okay, that's Gavin Newsom.
That's a state project. Is he not? What's he doing? Can he just do his job? Why is he focused on these things? Why is he focused on doing everybody else's jobs and not a goddamn thing for you?
Or as I call him, Gavin Newsom, who's so bad. But that's the one. But I think the Federal Reserve building is just as bad. And so whether it's incompetence, corruption, or both, I think you have to find out. I really do. I think you have to find out.
So you're not going to drop the probe?
No, I'm not playing. I have to find out.
And he said he's not leaving if,
Well, then I'll have to fire him. Okay.
The president can't fire the Federal Reserve chairman. He can't. He has no authority to fire him. It's already been ruled on. If he fired Jerome Powell could just say, okay, I'm going to keep doing my job. He literally can't fire him. He can fire Jerome Powell in the same way that I can fire any of you from your jobs.
Okay. If he's not leaving on time, I've held back firing him. I've wanted to fire him, but I hate to be controversial.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I want to be uncontroversial.
Oh, that's why. It couldn't be because you can't fire him. It's just because you don't like controversy. Got it. Okay. It doesn't get better. He has absolutely, he has no right. Remember when, who was it that Joe Biden said that he had talked to? Was it the Israeli prime minister? Who was it? Who was the woman that he was talking about that had died 10 years before or something like that? And he referenced that he had met with her there. whoever that was. It was a news story for like 3 weeks. Fox News brought it up every single time. Do you guys remember who that was? What was her name? Somebody's gonna get it. Robert, dude, brother, listen, man. I've been nice to you. I'm not. You use the same thing. I'm not abusing. I think I think that some people are stupid, and it's not if you don't agree with me. It's if you're stupid. I'm pretty clear on that. But can you just stop? Can you just come up with like a new thing, bud? People are getting annoyed with you. You just gotta come up with new stuff. This is a little repetitive. No, not gonna do that. All right, let's hear him talk about Ruth Bader Ginsburg and just rewrite history.
Look what happens to Justice Ginsburg.
Notice what it says. Born in 1933, done with 2020. Guys, when did Donald Trump leave office the first time? Anybody know? What year he left office? 2021? Got it. Cool. So she died in 2020. Let's hear what he has to say.
She was not exactly a young woman, but she decided that she was going to live forever. And about 2 minutes after the election, she went out, and I got to appoint somebody. So look what happens.
All right. They're also not going to talk about the other seat that they stole before he came in. How about this? Now we're abandoning our allies. I don't even understand how Trump brings Greenland into this discussion. This man has lost his mind. He has no ability to stay on topic.
Europe is now drafting a program and plan to open up the Hormuz Strait without the United States.
That's so sad. We're doing it now. By the way, it's opening. The ships are coming back and forth.
It's not true. It's not open. The ships are not coming. He lied about that. I don't know why he lied about this. Earlier, he said there were like 30 ships. Nope. Still not open. It was open before we bombed them, though, by the way. That seems to be now what they're going to negotiate. We'll stop bombing you if you reopen the strait.
Oh, without the United States, it just shows you, how can you have a country, how can you have a group of countries with that attitude? Look at Greenland. We should have Greenland to protect the world against Russia and China. The mention of it, all of a sudden they get, this country should not be paying trillions of dollars to NATO.
Okay, so to protect us from China, you said. We need Greenland to protect us from China because China is a problem. Now, China doesn't attack us militarily, right? I don't know why we need protection with Greenland with China, but obviously China for Donald Trump it's a big issue. If China attacks us, he's going to hit him back, and he would never stand for China attacking us.
Okay. Well, we just heard from the FBI recently that there was a major cyber attack attributed to China. What response is under consideration for that cyber attack?
We do it to them. They do it to us. We do it to them. You know.
Well, when was the last time we did a cyber attack in China?
Well, I don't know. I'm not going to tell you that, but we do them. They do us. It's been like that for a long time.
So it's not going to be addressed?
I'll address things, but you know, it is what it is. Look.
We need Greenland to protect us from China. China does a cyber attack. It is what it is. Somebody just mute Roman. Roman, you can't say libtards that many times, bud. We get it. I know you're just trying to get out of here.
China's China. They're never easy. But we're doing great with China.
Oh.
I'm the toughest person in China anywhere in the world.
I'm so tough on them that when they do cyber attacks, I say it is what it is.
I put on 100% tariff on Chinese cars. We don't
Joe Biden did that.
have a Chinese.
Joe Biden did that. What the fuck is he talking? That was Joe Biden. That was Joe Biden on the BYDs.
Chinese car in the whole country. And if you look at Europe, they're being inundated with Chinese cars.
Yeah, so now they have, instead of shitty Teslas, they have awesome BYDs. Congratulations, Europe. You have better cars than us because Trump's been so tough on China.
And it's killing their car companies, okay? There's nobody tougher than me.
Okay.
Who's selling more cars right now, do we think? Tesla or BYD? Who sold more electric vehicles? Well, let's see. Which electric vehicle manufacturer sold the most in 2025? BYD. They were number one at 2.25 million. Tesla was number two at 1.65 million. Great. What was that? What did you say there again?
100% tariff on Chinese cars. We don't have a Chinese car in the whole country. And if you look at Europe, they're being inundated with Chinese cars, and it's killing their car companies, okay? There's nobody tougher than me.
Okay.
They're number one in the world. Tesla's doing great. BYD's dead. How many did BYD sell? Only, 60 million more cars? No big deal. I mean, 600,000, 60,000 more cars? Yeah. Cool. But yeah, they're fucked. Okay. Moving on to domestic issues. Let's talk about Trump. What's Trump going to work on the rest of the year? That's what we need to know, right? You guys trust Trump. He's working on shit. The economy's tough right now. What's Trump going to do the rest of this year? It's April. He's got a lot of time. Leading into the midterms. What are we going to do, Trump?
Sir, what are your top priorities now for the economy for the rest of the year?
To be honest, we are doing so well. You look at this. I hit the 50,000 Dow mark, which everyone said couldn't happen in 4 years.
I can't find anybody who claimed that it couldn't happen in 4 years. I don't know where he keeps getting this claim. I have found no record of this claim. If somebody has a record of where that claim came from, I have no idea. But we're not at 50,000 now.
Did it in 1 year. I hit the 7,000 S&P mark in less than 1 year, which was a number, as you know, you reported it. They said if at the end of 4 years you hit those numbers, I did it at the end of a year. And
I don't know where he's getting these quotes.
I said, now we have to do a little bit of a detour to a place called Iran, and we have to stop them from ever having a nuclear weapon. And if you told me that in the midst of it, we would have a stock market that's almost as good as it was 2 months ago, just about.
That's an interesting way to spin that. If you would have told me that the stock market would be down from where it was before we started this war, yeah, of course it's down. You would have been surprised that somebody told you the stock market went down when you started this war?
Close. And that we'd have oil, that we'd be selling oil, that oil would be at 92 or whatever it is right now, instead of 200, because a lot of people said, oh, it'll be 200. This isn't.
Nobody said that. They said if the war were to drag on, I think it was like if it dragged on for a year, it would go to 200. This guy is a fucking idiot. He's wrong. Every single data point he's put out here is wrong. Why do you guys like him? What about this guy drives you? He's gotten every single number wrong.
In the midst of everything. Now, I think we're doing very well, and maybe people assume we're going to win this thing pretty soon. We've beaten them militarily, totally.
Okay, how? Then why are they able to control the Strait of Hormuz then? If they don't have a military anymore, how'd they shoot down our planes? How's this all happening without a military that we've completely decimated? All right, and then this. Just one last thing. Sorry if you guys have already thrown up. Sorry if I'm giving you round two here.
About the midterms. Do you expect the Republicans to lose seats in the House, and what does that mean for your agenda?
Well, I just left with Mike Johnson and some great people, some great congressmen and women.
That's a lie. Mike Johnson's not a great congressman.
And in the Oval Office. I think we're going to do good. Now, with that being said...
I like that one. Thank you, Duke Nukem. Shoulder-fired rockets. I heard somebody say that. How come our military can be completely stifled by shoulder-fired rockets? How is it that we can't overcome that? We can bomb a girls' school, but we can't take care of a dude with a shoulder-powered, or not shoulder-powered, like a shoulder... what do they call it? Like a shoulder-holstered rocket? We can't beat that.
When somebody gets elected president, that party always loses the midterms. I don't know why.
Also, that's not true. You don't always lose the midterms when you win the presidency. It happens.
Nobody can explain it. I ask people that
I can explain it. People go, people win the presidency and then they don't deliver, and then the party, like everybody's really excited when you win the presidency. Then if you don't deliver, then those same people who are excited don't show up for you again, and the other party wins. Everybody can explain that who has studied political science for 6 months.
Deep into the psychological world, I said, why is it that a voter votes for the opposite party? It's even when you have a good president. I think I had the greatest year, the greatest opening year I've read. The greatest, look, I ended 8 wars. A 9th is coming. But I ended 8 wars. Nobody's ever ended 1 war. Who's ended one?
Nobody's ever ended 1 war. All wars are still going, guys. There are no wars that have ever ended. World War I is still going. Fuck the Revolutionary War. I can't believe we can't get this shit done. The Civil War is still going on. The War of 1812 is still happening. The Desert Storm is still happening. The Vietnam War is still happening. The Korean War is still happening. We're still at a war in Afghanistan, Iraq. Nobody's ever ended a war before. He's the only person ever that's ever ended a war. Nobody in the history of the world has ended a war. All wars are still happening. God damn, can we get these crusades over with at some point, please? Shane said it happens to Republicans more often than not. It does happen.
But I ended 8 wars. Nobody's ever ended 1 war. Who's ended 1? Nobody. I ended 8. We have the biggest tax cuts ever. We have the biggest.
No pushback, Maria. None. No pushback from nobody has ended a war. You can't find your spine for that, Maria Bartiromo, Fox News. Not that. Nobody's ever ended a war. If Joe Biden said that, like, the Democrats would have run him out. They did eventually. You guys would be losing your fucking minds. Yeah, exactly. Any of this shit. If Biden said any of this shit, you all know he's lying. You all know he's crazy. And you're just like, we're just going to stick with it, though.
Regulation cuts ever. The greatest economy ever.
Thanks, Brian.
Pretty much including the fact that I took a detour into Iran in order to stop something that could have destroyed the world, right?
It's a detour now. It was what was it? An excursion? It's just anything but a war. Now it's a detour. I was just driving through the Middle East and I thought, hey, there's Iran. Let's make a pit stop.
But even when you have a great president, they tend to lose the midterms. It doesn't make sense to me. So we're going to try turning it around. You know, in 50 years, I guess the president, the party with the president has won twice. Why that happens, I don't know.
Is that true? In the last 50 years, has the president won the midterms? Let me know if that's true. Oh, no, they've only ever gained seats. So they don't lose it every time, but they've only, he's close. That's close. Let's give Trump a win on that one. Because he was close to being right. It only happened twice that they gained seats. That's close. Good job, buddy. We grade Trump on a curve here. If he gets close, we count it.
No, we are really working hard to turn that around. We've had the
Stacey said he actually believes what he's saying. It's scary. He doesn't remember what he's saying. If you asked him what he said after this, he would have no idea.
Year in the history of the presidency, first year, and we should be giving credit. Look at the border. So we had a border that was an open civ. You covered it better than anybody.
Not true.
Is that the message for voters going into the midterm elections? The border.
Yeah, I should get credit.
Leave them for?
Yeah, I think we should. Well, I think we have to bring it back to talk. We don't need help on the border. But, you know, I built over 1,000
But I have to talk about it because I haven't done anything else. So we got to keep talking about this.
Of wall. We have to talk about it because we should be given credit for having taken this disaster where people were criminals were coming in from all over the world and pouring into our country. It's the worst thing that's ever happened. It was like an invasion. And
It's the worst thing that ever happened, guys. American history is littered with issues, but worse than the Civil War, worse than the Revolutionary War, worse than slavery, worse than the Black Plague, worse than the genocide of indigenous people, worse than burning witches who were just women that had an attitude. The worst thing that has ever happened to this country is that a bunch of people from poor countries showed up and asked if they could stay here. There's never been anything worse. Godzilla King said, the 8 wars he ended are the ones he fought with his bowels. He's 0 for 8, but hoping for a W on the 9th.
Be giving Maria credit for it. So I'm going to be talking about it.
All right. We'll finish off with, this will probably take the rest of the time. I've said this before. I'm a huge fan of CoffeeZilla. And conservatives don't like CoffeeZilla anymore, but I feel like I have to say this every single time. This CoffeeZilla is legitimately, in my belief, the best investigative journalist in the country. He's incredibly thorough. He's incredibly gifted. He covers very complex issues, and his ability to get sources and get people on the record is second to none. He's an incredible investigative journalist, and he's been covering specifically crypto and EFT crimes for probably a decade now. He has 2 million plus subscribers on YouTube. He's largely responsible for bringing down Sam Bankman-Fried. I said Nick Shirley wrong. My bad. Sorry. Yeah, I forgot about Nick Shirley. He's the best. He's brought down multiple massive scams, and he is losing his fucking mind. He's so frustrated because literally people that he put in prison through his investigative journalism, he was cited in court cases. He uncovered and brought down scam after scam after scam. And after all those years of him doing this for a living and bringing down criminals, all it took was Trump getting in office, and Trump just started pardoning all these people that he took down. And he's like, what the fuck? NFT. What did I say? EFT? Jesus Christ, my brain's broken. NFT. Thank you. Non-fungible token. I should just say that. I don't know why I said EFT. What is it? The EFT is the... what is the EFT? That's like the fund. That's like, yeah, that's the funds. Jesus Christ.
Electronic fund transfer.
Yeah, thank you. Non-fungible token is what NFT is. And so he's frustrated. And he's frustrated because this administration is just like, go ahead and do crime. It's fine. And they're doing crime. And this video is titled, No One Can Deny It Anymore. And now the fraudsters that Trump pardoned for being fraudsters are upset because the fraudsters who did fraud, who got pardoned, are now being defrauded by Donald Trump, and now they're mad at it. And CoffeeZilla is just like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, everybody's committing crimes, and now the president is committing crimes on fraudsters, and it's like crime on crime. What the fuck is happening? And he's exacerbated, and it makes me laugh a little bit. Sherry said, why is he not talking about the pilots we supposedly rescued? Because he, I don't know, last time he just talked about quicksand, and it sounded like some dudes were running a train on him. That's probably why. So we'll play this. This will be probably the rest of the show, and then we'll get out of here. Just a reminder, guys, we are crowdfunded. I'll update the gift goal. If you could help us knock that out by the end, that'd be greatly appreciated. And then at 6 p.m. tonight on my backup account, RTP Media News, which may become my only account now, you can catch us live with Ash Me Anything, and we'll hopefully be talking to some MAGA voters.
Corruption is not stopping. We've got a lot more stories today.
Patty, sorry about my dirty mouth. Suck my ass.
But first, I want to talk about the reason why. It's because there are going to be no consequences for any of this. This is right out of the Wall Street Journal. Trump promises mass pardons to staff before leaving office. Now, I got to be clear. The president denies this through the press secretary, saying it was all a joke. The Wall Street Journal should learn to take a joke. However, we know already there have been a bunch of fraud pardons. Half of his 88 individual pardons are for white-collar offenses. Many of those people would have had to pay restitution, except now they don't. So their victims literally are not going to get their money back. One estimate put the total amount at approximately $1.3 billion in restitution.
Correct. Good point. This is on his Voidzilla account. He has 2 different channels. CoffeeZilla, where he does like deep dives, and then Voidzilla, which are more short form. So it's like a 20-minute video. So this, or 13 minutes. So this is on the Voidzilla channel, but same guy.
And fines that have been eliminated. And the corruption has gotten so insane that everyone has started to admit it, even people who are friends with this administration.
The Trump family has enriched itself to the tune of $4 billion since taking office again in 2024. Does this concern you at all?
Of course. I mean, I've been calling this out, I think, before pretty much anybody else. If the name were Biden and instead of Trump, people would be screaming bloody murder, and how this was not beneficial to President Trump's agenda either. So sure, that
well, not beneficial to his agenda or corrupt?
I mean, both, obviously.
That was Ben Shapiro, arguably
Is that okay? Like Ben Shapiro and me on the same page there? Can we say that maybe this is corrupt?
The biggest cheerleader for this whole administration, even he talks about how corrupt it is, although when asked if there are going to be any consequences for it, he's pretty honest that he thinks there will be a way out.
So you're confident that the Justice Department will pursue corruption charges against the Trump family because it's independent?
I'm confident that the president will likely pardon himself and his children in the same way that Joe Biden did on his way out.
Now you can see it's almost become a Washington
Joe Biden did not pardon himself.
Joke. The idea that there will be no consequences for this is such a foregone conclusion that when thinking about it, these people laugh about it. In other instances, people like Ann Coulter will allege in one breath that this is the most corrupt presidency in history, and on the other hand say, well, they just don't care.
Can't disagree with you. I mean, it's hilarious. I think this is the most corrupt presidency in U.S. history with the money they are raking in with the NFTs and the meme coin. I mean, it is so...
I don't like that Ann Coulter got NFT right and I didn't. That doesn't make me feel good about myself.
Blatant. It's right in front of our eyes. And the funny thing about I don't care as long as we get a wall and mass deportations.
What do you mean you don't care? And why are we laughing? It's the
I don't care as long as we mistreat immigrants. I don't care about fraud.
Most corrupt administration in history. I don't care. I just care about these other things. I mean, that is insane to me. Even Alex Jones does not try to defend some of the crypto tokens that have been released by this administration.
A bunch of the coins that groups that the president's with and all the kids put out. I say kids, most of them are older than me. They were rug pulls.
Yeah, so when you hear the word rug pull, you hear that there's going to be no consequence.
Remember what a rug pull is? The way that these work is the value of your crypto coin goes up the more people buy it, right? It's simple supply and demand. A rug pull is basically you start with a certain amount of coins. All of you get coins at a low price. Then you go out there and you pump it, meaning you're going to use social media and you're going to use any influence you have to get everybody excited about buying this coin. And a bunch of people buy the coin. You see the value of the coin go up. And those people that had the coins that bought in at a low price at some point usually collectively say now, and then they sell all their tokens on the way up. And they make a fortune, and then the coin crashes, and everybody who bought on the way up loses money. It's insider trading, it's fraud, it's a scam, it's a Ponzi scheme, it's all of these things that you would get in trouble doing if it wasn't a cryptocurrency. But for some reason, and CoffeeZilla says this regularly, crime is now just legal. It's just part of our economy. You can just do it now. You can just do crime. It's fine.
Because there's going to be pardons when you hear this is the most corrupt presidency in history. I just want you to know, that's not me saying it. That's Alex Jones, Ben Shapiro, Ann Coulter. And that all brings us to a giant news story happening in World Liberty Financial. One of these coins that Alex Jones says was a rug pull. I think that's pretty strong language.
Now, there's a World Liberty Financial, just so we're clear here, what Alex Jones was talking about were like the meme coins, like the Trump coin and the Melania coin. And the meme coins are just kind of like, they're memes. They're literally meme coins. They're not meant. There's no utility to them. You don't really do anything with them. It's gambling. And those were legitimately rug pulls. Now, World Liberty Financial is a stable coin, meaning it's supposed to like casually be tied to the US dollar. And it's a coin that you don't see a lot of volatility with. And you use it to trade other coins. So Trump and his family created World Liberty Financial. This is the company that all of these foreign countries and billionaires have been pumping money into Trump. Trump owns, I think they own like 80%, and he collects a fee. Every time you buy World Liberty Financial coins, Trump collects a fee. And so every time these people have bought World Liberty Financial coins, Trump gets a percentage. And I don't know what it is. I think it's between 3 and 6%. And he gets, I think, 70% of that. And so when we say Trump's made billions of dollars, it's through these fees. It's through all these people pumping money in there and these fees. And he's been using the presidency to get people to invest. You can directly see, and CoffeeZilla will lay this out, you can directly find people giving him, buying World Liberty Financial coins, meaning he gets money, literal cash, and then he gives them a pardon. And he's done this multiple times. Or like the Qataris, like they give him billions of dollars and then he sells them chips. I think, what were the names of the chips? Those NVIDIA chips, black NVIDIA chips.
But as a reminder of what this company is, we have their Meet Our Team section. You can see Donald Trump Eric Trump, Donald Trump Jr., Barron Trump, Chase Hero, Zach Folkman, Steve Witkoff. You got the whole team right here. That is, unless you try.
How on earth is this remotely legal? Good question. Remember, we've talked about this before, but remember on Rogan when you had Zuckerberg and Andreessen and Elon, and they all talked about the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and how they were a problem. Basically, this should be regulated by the government. These should be securities, just like stocks. But they don't regulate them that way. They operate in this gray area. And the Biden administration actually had a crypto fraud team, and they were putting people away. And Trump came in and dismantled that. He essentially said, just do it. We're not going to investigate. All of this is illegal. This is all on the books. This is all illegal. But Trump controls the DOJ, and they aren't prosecuting any of this. What CoffeeZilla is going to show you, these are all crimes committed by Trump and his family. And again, he's going to probably just pardon them. They're just going to get away with it. And he's not prosecuting other people because why would he? He's doing the same thing.
To visit this website recently, the About page, where all their names are listed and their pictures, has since been removed. They're beefing right now with one of their biggest supporters, Justin Sun. Now, you may remember that name because Justin Sun was under investigation by the SEC until he bought a bunch of Trump meme coins and the World Liberty token. He became one of the top holders. He even became an advisor. And then the SEC proposed a settlement with him and dismissed all remaining claims. You can see Justin Sun is mentioned here. They entered a final judgment where they settled claims that, quote, they facilitated wash trading to artificially inflate the trading volume of the crypto asset TRX. Justin Sun admits he was an early supporter who heavily invested in World Liberty Financial, and he says he did so because he believes in the vision that was presented to the public, and maybe a little bit because of the investigation hanging over his head, although we can't say for sure. What he says, though, is what was never disclosed to me or any other investors that World Liberty Financial embedded a backdoor blacklisting function in the smart contract used to deploy World Liberty Financial tokens. And then
So the smart contract is basically like the structure that allows the blockchain to work in this case. And so in the smart contract, what Justin Sun is accusing them of creating a backdoor and not telling anybody where they could like lock up people's coins, where you'd be unable to sell coins. Now, this is kind of weird with Justin Sun because I remember when Trump was doing the Trump coin and when they launched World Liberty Financial, and they've done some of these incentives where it was like whoever buys the most coins, like you get a dinner with Trump. I remember specifically reading those contracts on air where it said you wouldn't be able to sell coins for 18 months. So I don't know if Justin Sun bought in during one of those times. I know at least some of the times this was known. I don't know if this was a fast one or not. I haven't seen this particular contract, but at least on some of their contracts and with their meme coin, they did lock up people's ability to sell their coins.
Alleges that is what happens to him. So he's going at these guys. He's condemning them. He says so explicitly, I denounce the ongoing token scandals by the bad actors at World Liberty Financial. The World Liberty team has responded to him saying, does anyone still believe this guy? Justin's favorite move is playing the victim while making baseless allegations to cover up his own misconduct. My guy! They're basically...
They pardoned him! This is what they did to Michael Cohen. He commits crimes. He gives them money. They pardon him. Then they commit crimes. He points out that they're committing crimes and they go, why would anybody believe this guy? He's a criminal. Why'd you pardon him if he was a criminal?
Calling him a criminal, where it's like, yeah, but isn't that why we should have gone after him the first time? And then they say this is remarkable.
John said, what is Jay's favorite profanity word? And Jen says hers is fuck. Mine is bitch for sure, 100%.
Same playbook, different target. World Liberty Financial isn't the first. Well, yeah, that's why we were investigating him until the SEC settled the case. They say, we have the contracts, we have the evidence, we have the truth. See you in court, pal. This is one of the largest investors in World Liberty Financial, calling them bad actors, essentially calling it a scam, this undisclosed blacklist function that he alleges was in there, that he alleges stole his tokens. Meanwhile, World Liberty Financial's like, you're a criminal. This is your playbook, whatever that means. See you in court, pal. So apparently, if you invest in the president's coins, you get a settlement. You don't have to go to court. But if you go after them, if you call them out for these alleged blacklist functions, well, now all of a sudden, we'll see you back in court. We're going to take you back there. Now, honestly, I don't know who I dislike more in this whole situation, but I have to say it doesn't stop with Justin Sun, because besides just mentioning his own grievances, he's calling them out for a very specific story that just dropped.
Davey, you going to do all right, bud? You're having a lot of big feelings in the chat, Davey. All right, bud? Just a reminder, guys, we got about 15 minutes left. You can see the remaining gift goal. I know it was a weird day today, so we're a little behind on that. If you want to help us knock that out, that would be greatly appreciated. And then tonight at 6 p.m. on TikTok, we'll be debating MAGA, so make sure you're following my backup account, RTP Media News, where you can catch us there.
On CoinDesk, says Trump's World Liberty Financial uses $5 billion World Liberty Fi to borrow $75 million from a platform its advisor co-founded. World Liberty Financial is a very illiquid token.
This sounds like a Ponzi scheme. Sounds like a Ponzi scheme.
That basically they printed out of thin air. I mean, a lot of these tokens are currently locked up. And essentially the story is that they deposited those illiquid tokens as collateral onto a platform that their advisor is co-founding in order to withdraw 75 million real dollars. Now, that's a big problem because, of course, it's a huge risk for the...
So they inflate the value of their coin. Then they loan the coin so that they can take out cash. This is called funny money. None of this is real. Fugazi. They made up their own currency, then used the power of the president. Like, I want to be clear. Let's just say that let's make it me. Let's just pretend that I had millions of followers for a second. And I wanted to make money from my millions of followers, but I didn't, I wanted to make them feel like they were in. So I start my own coin. We call it the RTP coin. And we launched this RTP coin, and we say you can buy this coin, and it should go up in value. And behind the scenes, I keep 100 million RTP coins. And the value of that RTP coin goes up. And then suddenly I'm like, you know what? I would like to buy a mansion. How am I going to do this without selling the coins? I know. I'll take the value of my coins. I will loan it to a shell company or my friend's company. I will call it a loan. And then my friend will take out that $75 million in cash. He'll use that, take it out in cash. It's going to look like I'm getting paid back, so it's not going to make my coin worth less. And then maybe he gives me 70 of that. He keeps 5 for himself as a little gift. They just created a currency that competes with the dollar, and now they're cashing out. And they're literally using the office of the presidency, using pardons, using like trade negotiation, using tariffs as a way to force people to pump money into their shitty coin so that they can cash it out. This is so obviously a crime. This is so obviously a violation of the Emoluments Clause. There has never been anything like this in American history. And we can't investigate it because, 1, the Supreme Court ruled you can't investigate a sitting president, and 2, because Republicans are too busy lining up to suck this guy's dick. And you guys are too. You've been waiting in line for years, just hoping that someday the line will thin out and you'll finally get that skinny shaft and oversized mushroom tip in your mouth. You're just cheerleading this shit. It is so fucking weird. As somebody who grew up in a cult, this is exactly what a cult looks like. Where it is so obvious that this is a crime. It's so obvious that this is a detriment to the United States, to our national security, to our own currency. And you're just like, yeah, we love it because it's Trump.
Entire platform to have so much of its collateral in this token that really, will it sustain that sale? No, it won't. This is highlighted by a Twitter user who shows that if you try to sell $8 million of World Liberty Financial, you're only going to get $2 million back because there's just not enough volume to sustain this kind of selling.
Whoops. Whoops. How do you stop a cult? People need to get fucked. Enough people need to get fucked over. And that's the thing. Like, Trump knows he's got a few more years to fuck people over. He just needs to hold on as long as he possibly can. The cult ends when he dies. That's how most cults end. Like, if there's not like a line of succession, and there doesn't seem to be a line of succession for the MAGA cult, that's how this ends. And Trump just needs to make it last as long as he possibly can. And then all these people will pretend that they didn't support it.
The idea is if you're depositing all this collateral, a total of about $400 million of World Liberty Financial, and then using it to borrow a stablecoin, that's a huge risk that a protocol probably wouldn't allow, except for the fact that you know the owner. Now, for those who are watching who are wondering, okay, why is this all a big deal? Let me just explain that FTX, this is actually one big reason they collapsed.
You guys remember FTX? They wound up like collapsing Silicon Valley Bank, Sam Bankman-Fried. Basically what he did is and I guess CoffeeZilla will explain it actually, and I'll see if I need to add anything.
They were using FTX customer funds for trading, and one of the ways they did that was they used their exchange's native token as collateral, and they borrowed a lot of real dollars. They used their work.
So they had a token as well from FTX. That's what their native token was. And then they had this other like investment side of their business called Alameda, which you could invest in, and you could stake it. So you could throw your coins in Alameda, and then they would invest and they would trade. And they weren't very good traders. So they had FTX on one side, they had Alameda on the other side. And Alameda was supposed to be like people choosing to invest in Alameda, and it was a risky investment, so you could lose money. But in order to get people to keep putting money in Alameda, they were making up fake returns. And then they were using those returns in Alameda to leverage and get loans for other, like they were buying up, they were like bailing out other cryptocurrencies, and they were buying up infrastructure. And so they had a whole bunch of fake books with Alameda. And eventually, people that were putting money into Alameda were getting concerned because nobody would loan against against Alameda anymore, and all these investment like these VCs wouldn't give them money anymore because all the VCs realized it was a Ponzi scheme. And so then Sam Bankman-Fried had to go into FTX, which was supposed to be totally separate, and start taking liquidity out of FTX and putting it in Alameda. This is why it's a Ponzi scheme. This is why Sam Bankman-Fried is in jail. This is why Silicon Valley Bank collapsed. Donald Trump is doing the exact same thing with World Liberty Financial. The exact same thing. They are taking money out of World Liberty Financial, and they're using it for other investments to prop them up. Because if you don't know, like if you want to look at Bitcoin, let's look at Bitcoin over the last year and crypto in general. I don't know that everybody knows this about Bitcoin, but if you remember, Trump's supposed to be the Bitcoin president. As our economy has struggled, Bitcoin has collapsed. We were up at one point nearly $100,000, $95,000. We're climbing back up at 74 now, but it has collapsed. So there are a lot of people who have lost a lot of money. And so they're just kind of hovering, right? You're not seeing like a huge uptick. You'll see like an uptick and a crash, uptick and a crash. And so it's a very volatile industry right now, and it's all a Ponzi. We've been saying it forever. It's all a Ponzi scheme. Cryptocurrency is just a fucking Ponzi scheme. So Trump is just recreating what Sam Bankman-Fried is in prison for right now as president. The cool thing about Trump is he also runs the DOJ, and he has access to all these foreign countries who he can use leverage, our economy. He can use that leverage in order to get himself paid. We love this guy. He's such a good president.
Worthless tokens to borrow the real dollars. Not very dissimilar from what's going on here. Now, World Liberty Financial actually addressed all of what they call FUD going around in the World Liberty markets lending position. They say they're not any.
FUD is fear, uncertainty, and doubt. It's a dumb fucking thing that crypto bros say, and it's basically like doubt your doubts, not your faith. You got to believe in crypto to the moon. Anybody who sells a pussy, that's basically what it means. So fear, uncertainty, and doubt is just literally anybody who's pointing out that it's a Ponzi scheme. And they're like, fuck that guy. He doesn't believe. Thanks,
We're near liquidation, and frankly, even if the markets move dramatically against us, we'd simply supply more collateral. But the question is, Well, if your collateral is
Johnny
dropping.
said I fixed my username and I'm also helping the gift goal, which I guess it's for ball hair remover due to his whoring. Thank you very much. Jamar said I'm going to try and get in on that RTP coin. Daddy's going to get some new shoes. Thank you.
In value, the World Liberty Financial, adding more of that same collateral is not going to do anything. And of course, this is just one of many stories of self-dealing that's come out in recent months about World Liberty Financial. Like this article from the Wall Street Journal that a spy sheik bought a secret stake in the Trump company World Liberty Financial, a $500 million investment for 49% of World Liberty. And then in the wake of that, the UAE won access to tightly guarded AI chips. And of course, the concern is
what was weird about that purchase is he owned 49% of World Liberty Financial, but had no rights, no voting rights, couldn't make any changes, and could not withdraw that liquidity. So part of that deal was like a bullshit ownership. It just meant that he had that much ownership, but it was very limited. This was literally Trump saying, invest in my company, and I'm going to get you these AI chips. That's what you have to do. That's how you have to get them. You have to bribe me to get these chips.
You look at the complicated financials, ultimately this is some kind of quid pro quo going on here, where foreign actors are basically investing money to get an outcome they like. And of course, Justin Sun is another one of those foreign nationals who is a huge investor in all of this. And it begs an interesting question. You know, we have basically the president's family's crypto empire being heavily invested in by basically other countries, right? Like the main business of World Liberty Financial is their stablecoin, USD1. Now, if you actually look at the market cap of
which again, violation of the emoluments clause. We've had presidents, I don't remember which president was. I want to say it was Lincoln, that was like given animal tusks. And the Congress was like, you can't take animal tusks. That's against the emoluments clause. You can't take money from foreign countries. And this is Trump just like, it's in the news. It's just open. He's just taking money from foreign countries and then giving them benefits.
Using USD1, you see that it was used for a Binance investment. And I will remind you that if you go to Binance.com, you can't use it because it's literally not allowed in the United States. They have a sister branch, but we're talking about Binance.
So he's using a company that's illegal in the United States. He's using it to funnel money to himself, and he's selling chips, not even selling chips. He's taking bribes to allow these other countries to get chips or weapons or whatever they want. So he's literally not doing anything for our economy. None of this money is flowing through our economy. It's just right into his pockets. And then he gives them benefits that we all paid for. All the stuff that we've done as a country, all the infrastructure that we've built, he gets to capitalize off of all of that. And you still think he's for you.
Finance proper here. And then we have a USD1 boost program. And then we have a $40 million reward program that spikes the utilization further. Now, of course, what's the connection here between Binance and World Liberty Financial? Well, many would point to the pardon that got subsequently issued to Changpeng Zhao. He was for a long time the CEO of Binance. He's also a heavy investor into something called Aster.
Oh, weird. He needed a way to get this money. The way he could do it is giving a pardon to the CEO. Nothing to see here. And yeah, again, is this not fucking... It should be treason. This is the thing, I think we forget this about the Constitution. Like, the Constitution requires people to act like human beings and hold everybody accountable to the same laws. And MAGA refuses. Donald Trump could and will do anything he wants, and MAGA will never care. They will justify anything.
This is another company doing a big deal with USD1. Now, once again, you go to that website, it says service is not available in your region. So a lot of the deals they're cutting, a lot of the money they're raking in is coming from products, places, companies, services that are not in the United States. Like, that's just a fact. And the question you have to ask yourself at the end of the day is your government working for you, or are they using it to work for themselves? Is all of this stuff actually benefiting the average consumer? And this brought me back to a podcast I had.
No, of course not. It's not benefiting anybody.
Seen on the Iced Coffee Hour, where Eric Trump is talking about how he made so much money in crypto.
Eric Trump, thank you so much for coming on the Iced Coffee Hour. Really appreciate it.
Good to be on, guys.
So you tweeted today, and it went viral, that the Trump family has made more than $1 billion in crypto. How did you guys make it?
Well, we started the three most successful crypto projects probably in history.
Now that is a massive whopper, if I've ever heard one. I mean, you can just take a look for yourself. You got the official Trump coin way down. You've got the official Melania meme down 94%. Even World Liberty Financial is not doing so hot. So when he says,
well, we started the three most successful crypto projects probably in history.
What is he talking about? And who is he talking about they were successful for? I mean, actually, he's right that they were some of the most successful in history for certain people. But for the average investor who put their money in this stuff, it's been atrocious. It's been a bloodbath for most of them. And that's, of course, what corruption is at the end of the day. It's using political office or proximity to it in order to enrich yourself. Now, I'll remind you that all three of these successful crypto projects claim to have nothing official to do with politics. But it's obvious to see that they wouldn't have been half, a quarter, even an eighth as successful were it not all affiliated with the President of the United States. So I just wanted to call this out because although there's kind of this general consensus now that there is corruption going on, you have these, right-wing people saying it's the most corrupt presidency in history, there's varying levels of does it matter, right? And I wanted to say, I, for one, do care. I think everyone should care.
I also care. I don't like that our president is running a Ponzi scheme. I don't know why this doesn't bother MAGA. I have no idea. We spent 4 years talking about Hunter Biden. 4 years. For making money by using his dad's name. It was all you ever talked about. He pled guilty. He was investigated by the FBI. His own dad didn't stop the investigation into him. How in the fuck are we supposed to take you seriously? How? How can you be that upset about Hunter Biden and ignore this? No, not all politicians and rich people are trash. That's dumb. Don't do that. Don't be a bitch. Address what we're talking about here. God, if I fucking hate fence sitters. Kind of human. I don't want to address this, so I'm just going to pretend everybody did. Nobody has ever fucking done this ever fucking ever. And I know that when Hunter Biden was using his dad's name, none of you were like, well, just nothing to see here. Everybody does it. You're only doing this because it's like this dude just has a hold on you. I don't get it. What are you getting out of this relationship? Even Tony, even that Barack Obama was worth $2 million coming into office. When he left office, he's worth over $200 million. That's not true. Go look that up. But you can explain that. Book sales, speaking tours. He did that all after. And I don't like that presidents can make that money. What Barack Obama didn't do is run a Ponzi scheme and get money from foreign countries and then sell military protection and protected assets like AI chips, and then benefit from those sales. None of this has happened. Stop it. Just stop for 1 second. Why are you so afraid? Tony, I need to know why you won't criticize this. And you can't say Democrats. I just want an answer. Why won't you talk about this? Why are you only talking about Democrats right now? Why won't you point out that this is obviously a crime, Tony? I would assume that you're an adult if you're here. It's weird behavior from you. Why won't you say this is a crime? Do we have any Trump people here that are willing to say this is a crime and this is troubling? Can you just raise your hand if you voted for Trump and you have a problem with this? Yeah, or $10 billion for the Board of Peace, which Trump's just going to make money from off as well. Is there anybody willing to raise their hand to say that you voted for Trump and this is a crime and you have a problem with it? And if you don't, can you explain why? I have a law degree. It's nothing illegal. Dude, where'd you get your law degree? Shut the fuck up. Are you out of your fucking mind? Do you know about the emoluments clause? Are you aware of the emoluments clause? Do you have any idea, like insider trading, Ponzi schemes? None of that. If you set up a fund, let's say that you have you're trading securities, and you set up a fund, and you say that the money in this fund cannot be used for a specific type of purchase, and then you take that money for a specific type of purchase and you do it anyways. Is that a crime? Yes, of course it is. That's what we just laid out here. I don't believe you have a law degree. I think you're full of shit. You have a law degree the same way the person who catfished me has a law degree. Except for I think she does have a law degree. She just didn't pass the bar. Wait, your name is SL Custom Carpentry and you have a law degree? Sure. All right. Yeah, get the fuck out of here. Sure you do, pal. Even then, like, some lawyers are stupid. It looks like you're doing carpentry now. Fordham? Okay. Did they not talk about Ponzi schemes at Fordham there? SL Custom Carpentry? You guys didn't learn about that? Tony, yeah, Tony, mute Tony. Tony, I asked you about Trump. Stop saying Democrats. Little bitch. Goddamn. What? Custom carpentry. Why is this not a Ponzi scheme? Every medical and law class has a last place. Somebody's got to bring up the bottom. Trump University. Don't explain that. Just real quick, why it's not a Ponzi scheme before we get out of here. You need to get out of here. Let me check messages one more time. I don't think we knocked out the goal, but that's my bad today. President Trump is the only president in recent history who's lost money from being president. Bro, he's made more money as president than all the other presidents combined. What the fuck are you talking about? He's made $1.4 billion since becoming president this time. In less than a year and a half, he's made $1.4 billion. You were talking about 200 million earlier. These companies, World Liberty Financial started last year. The two crypto coins launched like 2 days before the presidency. Please stop believing dumb shit. One of your biggest clients? Okay, well, look, brother, with all due respect, I'm glad you went to law school. It is absolutely. So did Sam Bankman-Fried also, I guess ask that. Did Sam Bankman-Fried not commit a crime? Why is he in prison? If Sam Bankman-Fried did the exact same thing, why is he not in prison? Or yeah, why is he in prison there? Thanks, Godzilla God King. That was very generous. I appreciate that. W in the chat for Godzilla God King knocking out the gift goal today. No, they might not know million is bigger than the billion. That's a good point. Billion comes first in the alphabet, so it's smaller. I just want to say just one more. That's the only other thing. Trump has 540 businesses, you bum. Whatever. Doesn't matter. He has. I don't know if he has 540, but he just puts everything in LLCs. He has one business. I could make 540 businesses. That doesn't mean shit. It's about how he gets his money. That 1.4 billion has come from crypto. No on the custom carpentry. I just wanted that question answered, and then I'll get out of here. But if you don't want to answer that Sam Bankman-Fried didn't commit a crime. Nick Shirley's worth over 500K. You're broke. I don't have a lot of money, but my net worth is higher than 500,000. So appreciate you bringing that up. Why are you dick riding? How old are you, bro? Nick Shirley's like 23 years old. Do you want to fuck him? That's like your Jen. How many times has Bud said Nick Shirley today? Can you pull his messages? He's not going to fuck you, bro. He's an incel. He's waiting until marriage, and his church doesn't believe in gay marriage.
Let's see.
I don't know if you know about houses, folks. Most people's net worth is their house. I own a house, and I own an investment, and I own an investment property. So
looks like he's been simping over Nick Shirley today. So Nick Shirley doesn't need any money. Trump has 540 businesses. Nick Shirley's worth $500K. You're broke. You're lying. So that was today. But before, he's just simping all over Nick. Are you okay?
I think he wants to. I think he wants to fuck Nick Shirley. Honestly, I think that's what this is.
Hold on.
Or it's Nick Shirley's account. It's just like Nick was very upset that we pointed out that he doesn't even know what fraud is. What did he say fraud was? Do you remember somebody asked him? They were like, "What did they ask?" And he's like, "That's the same as fraud." Does anybody remember what crime he said was the same as fraud?
Who knows?
What was it? It was in the Andrew Callahan interview.
So I put it in the screenshots. The last 4 streams, 1, 2, 3, 4. That he's commented.
It's a lot of talk about Nick Shirley, bud. It's weird. We haven't covered Nick Shirley it's been weeks. Piracy, that's right. Thank you. Yeah, piracy and fraud were the same thing. That's what it was. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so I mean, here's
Andrew Callahan's like, wait, piracy is not the same as fraud. He's like, yeah, it is. It's the same crime. Okay.
So mostly it's
and it was being a pirate, he was talking about the Somali pirates, and he was saying that what they did was fraud. Why don't I like Nick Shirley?
He thought they were actually pirates.
Yeah. It's not that I don't like Nick Shirley. He's just a dumb guy that keeps reporting on stuff that you should already know. Like, he doesn't break any news, and it's frustrating, and it's a little funny to laugh at. I mean, he's remarkably dumb, but yeah, he just keeps reporting. Like, he shows up with papers that have he'll show up with newspaper articles, and then he's like, I'm breaking this story. It's like, well, no, the newspaper article broke that story 4 years ago. I don't even think Nick Shirley necessarily lies. I don't think he knows what he's talking about. That's mostly, good Lord, that is a lot of Nick Shirley.
Nick Shirley, Obama. He had a little bit of Obama. I'm looking at one where he's crying at Casey. Yeah, he's upset about because he says he's a retired lineman.
Oh.
He worked 47 years.
47. That's Trump, baby. All right. Well, look, brother. You follow Nick Shirley to the ends of the earth. He'll lead you to good places. Join the Mormon Church. That's what he really wants you to do. All right, Jen. Any last words before we go? And then I'm going to see you guys in 4 hours, 4.5 hours.
That's it. I mean, if you aren't already subscribed wherever you're watching, please do so. I sent the TikTok thing over to Cino. We'll see what happens.
Okay, cool. All right, guys, we'll see you tonight over on TikTok on my backup account. It's at RTP Media News. We'll be with Ash Me Anything for Ash Wednesdays, where we'll hopefully talk to some MAGA folks. If you're here and you want to talk to me and you don't know how to use Discord, this might be your opportunity. You can come up, you can have a conversation. Bud, if you can figure out how to use TikTok, come on over. Maybe Nick could give you a hand with that. He could tell you how to use it. But until I see you guys later tonight or tomorrow morning, take care of yourselves. Say nice things about yourself. Drink lots of water. If you go outside and touch grass, if you can't touch grass, smoke it if you can't smoke it, or touch it. Best of luck to each and every one of you. But most importantly, love yourselves and love the people around you. Stay cute and cool, and have a great summer.